So now we have a working game with levels and platforms and animations and sounds and portals and enemies and all sorts of other cool stuff going on. But at the moment, assuming that, let's say, you have 10 levels, anyone who plays your game will, with enough practice, perhaps get to level 10. So what's the difference between two people that can both get to level 10? The difference is perhaps which one of them can get the highest score. Now, there are different ways in which we can do a score, but I'm going to show you how to do a scoring system that uses coins. So we're going to scatter coins around the level, and then we're going to make sure that as the user collects the coins, the score goes up, and then perhaps at the end of the levels, at the end of level 10, we can then show what the score is, and then we can see who's got the most score. Quite a few games at the moment on mobile phones do this, so you can complete the level, but you can either get 1, 2, or 3 stars for completing that level, depending on how many coins you've collected. Cut the Rope, I believe, is one game like that. So let's begin by creating a coin. So I'm going to go into Paint for our sprite. I'm going to create a circle, and I'm going to make that circle gold. So then I'm going to draw out the circle like this. And I'm going to add a second circle that has a kind of a grey outline. So I'll bring saturation down. That'll give us the greys. So I'll have a grey outline, and it's a little bit smaller. I think that's probably a little bit too small for an outline. So let's try that again. Oops. Saturation down to give us our greys. Increase the thickness of the line till about 10. Let's try that. Yep, that's about right. A little bit bigger perhaps than that. And bring that on top of the coin there. And then we'll put like a pound sign or something on here. So let's type a pound sign, and we want that to be black. So we'll take the brightness right down, and we'll increase that a little bit as well. There we go. And put that, we'll just convert to bitmap. We can select that and drop that on top of the coin like that. There we are. So now let's select all of that. Grab the middle of it, put it over the middle of the sprite area, and then over here, it's a little bit wonky, but I'm not going to worry too much at this point. I'm going to reduce that down. Let's try 20%. I think 20% is probably about right. So there we are. We've got the coin. I'll just name that coin, and we'll just make one for the moment, and then we'll just duplicate them as we want. So let's put the coin just here. What do we want to happen? Well, basically, whenever we touch the coin, we want 2 things to happen, possibly 3. First thing is we want the coin to disappear. So we don't want the coin to sit there, otherwise we could just keep wandering backwards and forwards through the same coin, increasing our score, and that's not quite right. So the coin's got to disappear. We've also got to add 1 to our score. And the third thing we might do is add a sound effect as well, so we know we've collected that coin. So with the coin sprite selected, let's head over to code and grab ourselves a green flag. So when the green flag is clicked, what we want to do, well, we already know that there's going to be something in the game that will cause the coin to hide. In other words, when the player touches the coin. So the first thing we've got to make sure we do is to show the coin. It may be shown already, but if it's been captured already, we need to make sure that it is shown, that it's visible. So that's the first thing we need to do. The second thing is that we will need to constantly check to see if the player is touching the coin. So once again, we need a forever block, and inside that an if block that will ask whether whether the player is touching the coin. So there's the player. So if we're touching the player, what do? Well, of course, we need a score, don't we? And the score is going to have to go up as the game goes on. So let's head over to variables and add ourselves a score. Or you can call it coins, whatever you want. Again, it's shown in our game, and I probably do want that to be shown, so I'll put it over there. Just so you know, if you right-click on a variable like this, you'll see that you may have seen this already. You get different views. You probably won't want slider, but large readout just gives us a kind of bigger number in the middle there. You might want to then draw the word score onto your platform or something if you want to. I'm going to put normal readout for the moment just to make it clearer, but you can play around with that if you want to. Now, of course, at the beginning of the game, we'll need to make sure that score is set to 0. So when the green flag is pressed, let's make sure that score is set to 0. Make sure that we show the coin, and then forever, what do we do? So if the player is touching the coin, we need to do two things. We need to change the score by 1. So the score is going to go up by 1, and we need to hide this coin. So let's head over to looks and hide the coin. There. And that's all we need to do if the player is touching it. So if we want to do a sound as well, we can do. I'm going to go to sounds. I don't need the pop sound effect, so I'll get rid of that. I've already found a sound on that website I showed in a previous tutorial, the last one I think it was actually, and I downloaded one of those for a coin, which I think is that one there. There we go. So I'm going to open that one. There we go. That's sort of a coin sound. We'll do that one. Let's just call that coin sound, like that. And then in the code, when we touch the player, we'll change the score by 1, hide, and we'll also play that coin sound. So I'll put that in there. So let's just run the game and see what happens. So you see I've changed my background. I've changed the portal a bit as well. Little changes that don't do a lot, but at the top you can see the score is currently 0. And if I run over here and I grab the coin, you see the coin disappears and my score is now 1. Oops, and I just died in the lava. And I've still got the cackle on there. So now what happens if we want to make more than one coin? Well, there's actually a couple of things that will... And there we are, game over. Lovely. A couple of things that we'll need to do. So first of all, if we want to have more than one coin, then we can simply take this sprite here and duplicate it, and then put the other coin wherever we want it. And let's do this again. So let's have coin 3. Let's have coin 3 over here. We don't need to actually get there normally. And that's part of the idea of putting coins around in the platform. But you put them in areas you don't need to go to if you're just heading for the portal. So getting to the coin is itself another challenge within the level. And if you've got an enemy flying around, it's a challenge some people may decide, no, I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to go straight for the portal. And that gives you the difference between two possible players. So there are my coins. So you see I've got coin, I'll call this coin 1. I've got coin 2 and coin 3. So those are in that position. And they will all work perfectly just as they are. So just by duplicating them, those will work. So let's go and grab the first coin. There it is. And then the second coin. And whoops, and I didn't quite get the third coin. Let's just try that again. I think the enemy is going to probably cause me a problem. There we go. So I've got all 3 coins and I've got my score of 3. I can now go to the portal. And yes, I've added a sound effect to the portal as well. So you see all these little differences make a difference. Now, on this level here, we've got no coins, of course. We're on level 2. The coins have disappeared because we told them to. Our code said once the player has touched the coin, hide it. So that's fine for level 1. But what about level 2? We'll need to check what level we're on, and that's for 2 reasons. First of all, we need to make sure that when it comes to level 2, the coins are visible again, but also we'll probably need to put them in different places. So let's start off by having in the coin, I'm in coin 1 for the moment. In fact, I'm going to, just for the, no, actually, no, I won't. I'll copy the code across. Just ignore that. So for coin 1, I'm going to grab the when I receive new level, because of course the coins will need to be visible again whenever the level changes. So when I receive new level, show. So that's going to bring it back so that it is visible again. And we can do that for coin 2 and for coin 3. Let's pop those on there. So that's coin 2, when I receive new level, show, and coin 3. So what about the positioning? Where do the coins go? Let me just run the game first of all so the coins are visible again. Okay, so when I receive new level show, we need to ask the question, which level are we on? So a little bit like the platform, which said when I receive new level, if that level is 2, switch to costume 2. If the level is 3, switch to costume 3, and so on. For coin 1, we need a code that says if it's level 2, go to this location. If it's level 3, go to that location, and so on. So to do this, what we need to do, we've got all 3 coins visible. Let's go to the platform and to costumes and switch over to the level 2 costume. So now we can see, although we can't actually because the stupid choice of, let's just do blue sky for them so we can see the stage. There we are. So you can actually see the stage better now. So by switching the platform costume over to level 2, we can now see it and decide where we want the coins. So now let's click back on coin 1 and head to code. And we need an if question. So if the level is equal to 2, so if we are on level 2, then where do we want to go? So if level is equal to 2, this is when I receive new level. So if that level is equal to 2, then we need to go where? Let's take coin 1. That's this one here. If you're not sure which coin is which, if you just click once on the sprite down here and look in the game area, you can see a little sort of blue flash around that coin every time I click on it. So that's how you can identify a particular sprite. I think I want this one. Let's see, we jump onto there, and then we tend to jump down here, I think, don't we? Or do we go over the top? But let's put it here. So that's that one. So now we can go to motion and grab the go to, and we can drop that inside there. Now let's duplicate that and say if the level is equal to 3, where do we go? Let's actually hold fire for a minute on that one because we've got the other 2 coins to position as well. So I think rather than going backwards and forwards, let's just leave that for a second. Let's go over to coin 2. And coin 2 will need the same sort of code. So again, we need to say if the level is equal to 2, so if we're on level 2, where do we want this one to be? So this is this coin here, and I think I'm going to put that coin just there. So let's grab the go to block from the motion section. There we go. And then we can just switch over to coin 3. And again, put an if block in for coin 3. So again, if level is equal to 2, then where do we want this one to go? So this one I think needs to be there, because we could come down onto this platform and then just be lazy, slide and drop down. But putting it there, we're challenging the user to jump down to there. In fact, let's be really mean and put it there. So the user has to jump there, then jump over to here and risk sliding and falling down to this bit here. So that's a bit mean, but that's part of the game. So let's now go to motion and grab those coordinates and pop them in the code. There we go. Right, so now we've done that. Let's go to the platform and switch over to level 3 costume. So again, you can see now they're in totally the wrong place for this. So once again, we go to coin 1, switch to the code, and this is where this extra block comes in. So now if level is equal to 3, where do we want to go? Well, not there. So let's check which is coin 1. It's this one here. So I think this needs to go probably up there. So let's put it there and grab those coordinates. Then coin 2, we can duplicate that if block. If level is equal to 3, then where should we take this one? That's this coin here. I think we'll probably put that coin there, so that'll make us jump as we come through. In fact, let's try and see if we can put it up there. I think we can jump that high. So let's pop it up there and grab those coordinates. And then finally for coin 3, let's duplicate that. So coin 3 is this one, and we've got a kind of a funny block here coming Oh, this is that floating bridge, isn't it? Right. So we're going to, obviously the user's going to come down here, drop down here. Oh, that lava needs moving, doesn't it? Drop down here and then come along to this section. So I'm going to force them to go all the way over here to get this coin. Totally unnecessary and might put them in danger of the enemy. So there we go. Pop the coin there. Those coordinates are, this is level 3, isn't it? Level 3? Oh yes, I just haven't changed that now. Level 3. So get rid of those coordinates and go there instead. Okay, there we are. Now the one thing I've realized that we've not done, of course, is keep the coordinates of the original level, of level 1. So we just need to switch the platform back to level 1 and just check where those coins were. So at the beginning when the game starts, we set the score to 0 and we show this coin, but we will need to just set the position of the coin as well. So where do we put, I think, didn't really pay much attention to where the coins were. So I think we'll put one coin there. So that's that coordinate. Then coin 2, I think we'll put there. So that's there. And then coin 3, we'll put that there. So that is those coordinates. Now I know I've got a 4th level, but I'm not going to worry too much about doing that. Let's just try that out now. So let us run the game. So you can see those are my 3 coins on level 1, and you can see the position of those coins. Let's see if I can get all the coins. And that is something that you will need to check, test, make sure that all coins are. So now we've moved on to level 2, and you can see the coins have now come back. They're all visible, and they're also in that other location. So they're in this new location, and of course they can still be caught. So let's just try to, whoops, grab that one. Yes, we can get that coin. And there we are. We're on to level 3. Coins are visible again, and they're in their new location. So you can see the idea of that. Oops, let's see if I can do this. Surely I can get it at least once. There we are. And I think we can get through this. I've just realized, of course, I'm not going to be able to do this game. Oh, I think that needs... Oh, no, I can get through there. Can I actually jump that? I won't be able to jump to the portal. And I can't get through there. That hole's too small, so I won't be able to fit in through through there. And I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to be able to avoid the... Oops. Yes, that floating bridge needs to be removed as well, doesn't it? And I have just died there. Right, we can see that this enemy here is going crazy because of that floating bridge. So we probably want to make sure that floating bridge is only visible for certain levels. And of course, we know how to do that. Yes, you do, because we've got that in the lava. So in the lava, we had this code, if you remember. If you're not sure, then I think that was lesson 8. So this here is the code that says whether the lava is visible or invisible. So if level is 1, we show it. If it's 2, we hide it, and so on. So for level 3, I think we actually want to hide it, not show it. So that's the bridge rather. So that's something that you know how to do, and if you're not sure, go back and look at lesson 8. So there we are. We've got the score. Now the other thing we probably want to do is to make sure that when the game ends, we can still see the score. So we need to make sure those variables are visible. If we keep them at the top there, then they should be. But we could always display the score if we have the player at the end of the games when the game is totally over. And we'll know that because it'll be here. So when I receive game over, rather than hiding the player, what we can do is simply stop. So we can keep it visible. We can make sure that it's at the front, and we can also then say something. So in looks, we can say, and I'm pretty sure we can get the variable score. There it is. So we can say the score. We can even grab the join block here. So that's in operators. Join will join 2 words, 2 phrases, 2 strings together. So we can say join the words you scored and then whatever their score is. And we can put that in say, we can put that in when game over, and then we can stop other scripts from running. We can even have the player go into the middle of the screen and increase in size. So, in fact, not the middle of the screen, probably about there. At the moment, the size is 25. Let's try 200. Oh, that's too big, isn't it? Let's try 100. Yeah, I think that'll do. And we'll put that in the middle of the screen. So what we'll do is we'll say go to that location. Looks, we will change the size. So set size to, what did I say, 100%? Yep, so 100%. And then say those words and stop the scripts. That also means, of course, that at the beginning of the game, we're going to have to reset the size. So set the size back down to 25%. There we go. So let's run this now and we'll see what happens. So we'll run the game. Let's try and get at least one coin. And then we'll just lose a life. So there we are, we lost one life, lost a second life, and then game over. And there you see, we've got the player now much bigger. Probably want to move either the words game over up or this down. I think we'll move the words game over up, but that's easy enough to do. But you can see you scored 3. And then we can stop the game. And when we run the game again, the player is now small again. So there we are. So that is a simple scoring system that we can play around with, and I think that's working quite well. What you'll need to do is to move the coins around and work out the location for every level you want to have coins on. But you can have as many coins as you want. You can duplicate these and have 20 coins if you want to on each level. It's up to you entirely. So have some fun with the coins. We're almost done with our game, but one thing I mentioned a little while ago was when we were creating enemies, how we could have more enemies appear as we go up through the levels. So we're going to be looking at something called cloned sprites next. So we're going to look at clone sprites in the next tutorial, and then I think we're pretty close to finishing our game and publishing it. So when you're ready, I'll see you in the next tutorial.